Hi everybody, today we're going to learn how to make beautiful textured papers that can be used easily in a collage. I'm going to just show you what type of paper I use initially. And because this has quite a bit of crayon and paint on it, I'm using a little bit of adorable paper called cardstock. This can actually be gotten at an office supply store. It doesn't have to be gotten at an art supply store. If you don't have this, though, you can even use computer paper. It may not hold up as well, but I think that if you do it quickly and you don't apply too much water, you will be fine. I'm also using some jumbo crayons. Of course, you could use any kind of crayon, that's fine. I have Crayola brand here. I'm using a blue, green, and a yellow. And I'm going to be using some green paint that I'm just going to apply to that. Also, I have a variety of some brushes here, which actually add to the different textures. I have a medium flat brush. These are acrylic brushes. I have a wide flat brush and a narrow brush, a bunch of brushes. And I even have one that's designed for stenciling. That's round but flat at the bottom. Now, if you don't have all these brushes, it is not a problem at all, because you can actually take a paper towel and you can fold the paper towel many times, make it whatever width you would like it to be, and then hold it again, hold it, and then dip it in the water and dip it in the paint. And you could actually paint with that. You can also paint with a sponge. Makeup brushes work, and so do toothbrushes. You could be creative and see what you can find. So what I'd like to do is to show you how to do 4 different designs, like I did here, creating different textures that can be used for collage. Just for the purpose of this demonstration, I'm going to fold this paper in half, and then I will fold it in half again, leaving 4 equal rectangles to do designs in. I begin by using a blue-green crayon. My first one that I'm going to do, I'm going to just go back and forth, really pressing so I get a nice amount of wax, but leaving white in between. I want to leave white so when I go over this with the paint, it will add to the design. I also want to make sure that my wax is really thick on here, because I'd like to get some bubbling effects, because there's something called crayon resist, where if you apply the watercolor or if you apply water to wax, it does not absorb and it will bubble up on it, giving it a nice effect. So as you can see, I'm actually kind of going over some of this to make sure that there's a nice thick amount of wax. Now, I'm going to show you how I can also add some yellow to enhance the design. And I'm planning this. I'm figuring out like where I would like the yellow as I do it. And then I'm going to go over it with a wash. A wash just means that I'm going to take a brush, load the brush with some green, and then I'm going to run that right across it. I may not put it over the whole thing. I'll just kind of decide as I go along where I would like it to be. And as you can see, what happens is it bubbles. And it gives a very nice effect. I don't want to go over the yellow too much because I like that bright yellow. So I've just designed a really pretty texture. Okay, now I'm going to do another texture. This one, instead of just going in one direction, I'm going to go in various directions. I'm going to keep doing that until the spaces in between are small. The spaces between the lines are small. Of course, it's up to you how coarse you would like this texture to be. It is your design. These can be used for a variety of different subjects where it will be cut out and glued in as a part or an element of a collage. Okay, I kind of like how that looks. So now at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some yellow again. And I'd like to make it so these are compatible. So in the same art piece, they can be used. So they're similar, but they're not the same. Similar, but not the same. And now, this time, I'm going to try, instead of the darker green, I'm going to try a lighter green on this one. And see what will happen, how that comes out. So I'm actually taking my stenciling brush, which is the rounded brush this time. And I'm just going to make some cross hatching, which means make it go in different directions, just the way I did with the lines. And see what kind of an effect that has. And I think I kind of like that. So it's very compatible with the first one, but it's also different. Now, on this one, instead of using the crayon, I think I'm actually going to just try using some paint. I'm going to create the texture with the paint. I'm going to use some dry brush, which means I'm purposely letting the brush run out. I'm wetting it, but I'm letting it also run out. To get the bristles kind of adding to that texture. And now I'm going to use some blue paint. Let's see how that works. It's a very different texture than the top two. That's because there's no crayon. And I'm using the bristles. And as I do it, I'm designing this texture. People sometimes even make wrapping paper this way, where they make a beautiful paper and then wrap a gift with it. Okay, so there's another one. Lastly, I'm going to do some swirls. I think that should be interesting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the yellow and just go round and around. And I'm going to take, instead of the blue that I had used before, I'm going to use a light green. And now I'm going to use another green, a different kind of green. Now the thing it's missing is the blue, so I'm going to put some blue paint on it. And that should bring it together. In fact, I'm getting a surprise. I kind of like it because I put a lot of the wax. I'm getting a lot of the bubbling, and it's making a really pretty texture. Okay, so there you have it. 4 really interesting, beautiful textures done different ways.